Welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily. Today's episode is all about thrift flips and easy items or items that you may find easily at thrift stores, antique stores. This happens to be vintage market days, which I visited. My daughters and I drove up for the day to go see what treasures we could find, and I kept seeing some of the same items over and over. So I'm deciding to kind of show you what I did with those items. This is part of a playlist, so stay tuned and listen for that. But if you like crafting, DIYs, dupes, hacks, thrift flips, or just creating in general, I would love if you would consider subscribing. If you like any of these flips today, remember to hit that thumbs up. But let's go make some DIYs. I feel like cutting boards are one of those items that you can find really at any thrift store or secondhand shop, flea market. In this case, I found this at vintage market days, and there was a lot of them everywhere. And also cutting boards, even if you don't find one thrifted, or you might have one at home that you could just use to do this with. But a lot of times you're not going to pick up one of these cutting boards and use it for food because you don't know the history or where it's been, and you can see all of those like cut marks in it. Like, you just don't want to trust that. So you just want to wipe it down with like a Clorox wipe or Lysol wipe really good. But the technique I'm going to show you here is going to keep it so you don't have to paint a cutting board, but you can use it as like a decorative statement piece, just something kind of to jazz one up here. And I'm doing mine kind of in a 4th of July theme just because it's close to the 4th of July for me. But just know that this technique, you can do it for any season, any type of kitchen style that you want. The technique is the same, so just keep that in mind as we go here. So I'm just taking a piece of fabric and I'm just ripping it on the edges so I have a natural edge. You could even use just like a ribbon for this part, or even like scrapbook paper would work if you wanted to do that too. But you could use hot glue to do this if you would like to, but I love to use this Elmer's school glue here. This stuff is the best, and specifically this brand, I have not had any trouble with this not holding something. And I like it because it's non-toxic, so I can put it straight on my cutting board, just a little bit right there. And even if it was a cutting board that you have that maybe you're going to go back to using or something, if you were to wash that off, it's not going to leave any toxins or anything in your wood, so it's going to keep it nice and safe to use if you decide to do that. Now, I have this piece of ribbon here. This came from JoAnns, but you can see it's a lot wider than the fabric I put down. So in order to cut that down to size, because I feel like with this pattern that's on there, I can do that and it's not going to look weird or anything. So I just folded it over on itself several times, and then I just cut up the middle with my scissors, and that's just going to make it a little bit of a thinner piece of ribbon. Now, of course, I could probably find a thinner piece of ribbon. I just happen to have this in my stash, and I really liked the way that it looked on here. I thought it was kind of fun with the stars and stripes on there, and I thought these layered really well. But as you can see how much fun you would have doing something like this, if you did this for like fall time or Christmas, you really could have a lot of creativity that you could use to come up with different ideas. Now, since I'd glued the original piece of fabric to the cutting board with my school glue, I was okay using hot glue on here. I didn't feel like that was going to peel off or anything. And I just took a strip of each of the ribbon and the fabric to tie around the top here. That's just kind of going to bring a little bit of visual interest up towards the handle there, which I think is kind of fun. And hopefully this just gets those creative juices flowing for you. And you know that you don't have to copy it exactly. I mean, that's fine if you do, but you might be able to find something that works a little bit better for you, or you like something that I do or you don't like. That's up to you. Now, I love to use cookie cutters a lot of times on these little cutting boards when I do this. However, I didn't have any 4th of July like looking cookie cutters, but I have these little tart tins that I picked up at vintage market days, and I just thought they almost looked kind of like fireworks in my mind. In my mind, it works. So, maybe kind of like little stars or something. But I'm just using my Crop-A-Dial, which is a wonderful tool. I can link it down in my description box, but it is so fantastic to be able to cut through little thin pieces of metal like this, or even like the Dollar Tree signs if you want to make like a new hole or something in them. This Crop-A-Dial makes quick work of that, and it's very easy to use. Now, to tie these on, I'm just using some twine. I just tied that around the handle of the cutting board. I fed it through each of the little tart tins there and tied that on. I wanted to make sure that they kind of hit at a little bit of a different length, so you can kind of see the one hangs lower than the other one there. And then I even, I was thinking about putting a little bit of greenery in there, so I tested that there. This cutting board did not have like a tie for the handle here, like if you were to hang this. So I just took some thicker twine and fed that through just to kind of give it a handle. Whether you hang it from this or not, I think it kind of completes it where there is a hole there for something like this. I thought that was kind of nice to be able to put that on there. So you could put some greenery like I had on there if you would like to. I just liked leaving it like this. This is such a fun process to be able to kind of dress up a piece. Maybe you have a china hutch or you stack some cutting boards against your backsplash in your kitchen. How fun would a little one of these be stacked against those to kind of bring in this a seasonal touch or a holiday touch, or even just like match your kitchen? I love this technique. What do you guys think of this? Today's video is part of a playlist collaboration. A couple of weeks ago, I had a compilation video I had to put on this playlist because I had lost my voice and I was so sick, and I continued to be so sick for like almost a week and a half later. And I'm finally now to the point where I can do my voiceovers on my video, have them sound decent, and bring that video to you guys. So I am just letting you know that this video is also part of that same playlist. This was my original video. I just couldn't edit all of the footage because I had no voice and it hurt so bad to talk. So thank you for your patience, but linked in my description box will be a link for this playlist. This is a collaboration video with my good friend Linda at Linda's DIY by Design and Sandra from the JoAnns Nest. Their videos are absolutely amazing, so I'm going to leave that playlist pinned in my comments as well as posted in my description box. So hopefully it's easy for you to find so you can go watch their thrift flips and even see that other compilation video of mine if you would like to. You can hear how awful I sounded with no voice. It hurt so bad to talk, you guys. So thank you so much for your patience in waiting for this video to come, and it's finally here, and I appreciate you being here to watch it. If you are coming from the playlist, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get right back into those thrift flips. A lot of times at thrift stores, you'll find some different or unique signs that make great base pieces. You can see this here. When I picked this up, I originally thought I'm going to make a new sign out of this. However, when I got looking at it, I'm like, this actually makes the perfect riser, and it really needs minimal work. And so I feel like a lot of times if you're looking at something at the thrift store, start to kind of look at it in a different way. Like, this is a sign. Could I do anything else with it? How could I position this? Because whoever made this part, the sign on, you know, with those cute little things on the side, the little wood slats on the side there. I mean, it's a cute sign the way it is. You can tell somebody made it with a Cricut, the way it's just like vinyl lettering that's cut on there, and they just used some hot glue to glue this little piece of ribbon on there. So it was really easy for me to peel these off. It took just a little bit of time. I would heat those letters up and use my putty knife here, and I could peel all of those little letters off. But, you know, like I said, as I got looking at it, I'm like, these little pieces of wood on the side, the slats of wood, I'm like, they really act almost like as feet on a riser, and it was painted on both sides. So I'm not sure whoever made this sign, maybe it was a riser before and they thought, let me change it into a sign. I don't know the history, but I thought, what an easy project. And a lot of times you can find pieces like this at thrift stores, or a sign or something that is easy to be able to turn into a riser or build on it to make some other type of piece, or even, you know, just make another sign out of it. I feel like I kind of lucked out because it was already white, and I didn't really need to paint it another color because I do love that white sanded look here. So I just took this out into my garage and I just got my hand sander here. You could do this with just a piece of sandpaper. It might take you a little bit of time, but I just really roughed it up to have it have that farmhouse, rustic, vintage look to it. So that's just a matter of personal preference. It would be so fun to paint this a bright blue for summertime, or I mean, any color really would be a lot of fun to do the same type of technique. Even where it was painted with that white, you could do like a crackle medium on it and paint another color over it and have that. I mean, there's endless possibilities, but I was just trying to go for something super easy with this and try to make it just something that somebody could do, like, you know, as a quick project one afternoon or something. And I'm taking my emery board in there and going over some of the little pieces that I couldn't quite get with my hand sander, and then I just wipe it down, spray it really good, and wipe all of the dust particles off of it. Now you can go back in and spray this with either like a clear coat gloss or matte, I don't know why I said gloss, but just a clear coat, but matte, satin, or gloss, whatever your heart desires on that, or do some Mod Podge on it to kind of seal everything in. I'm not going to use this for any food purposes or anything, especially since it's from the thrift store and I don't really know the history of it. but it's a very fun piece to use for like a decorative piece. Now I'm taking a little bit of antiquing wax on just like a wipe or a little paper towel, and I'm going to go over all of the edges with just the slightest amount of that antiquing wax. I do it front and back. I'm not really sure why I did the bottom. I guess in case I ever decide to flip this up and use it the other way. It might be kind of a cute tray actually if you put some handles on the sides of it right here to have it on this side. That would be really cute looking at that now. But I'm just going over that naturally like exposed pieces of the wood so it darkens those a little bit just to give it that vintage vibe. I'm really just going for something rustic, but look at how cute this looks. This is what is so fun about risers is it just takes like a little vignette. It kind of compartmentalizes it and has it look nice and tidy, but a definitely like intentional decorative scene. I hope that makes sense with what I'm trying to convey there, but I just love the look of risers in decor, and it definitely helps to elevate things literally and figuratively, but just to make it kind of look like it was just an intentional vignette there, and I really love the look of that. I thought this was such an easy project. Did you guys like how this one turned out? Rolling pins are super easy to find at thrift stores, antique stores, in this case, vintage market days. In fact, I saw so many of them in different booths at vintage market days. I started taking a little bit of footage just to show you. It was almost comical that like almost every booth had some type of rolling pins. Now, whether you have some vintage ones or newer ones, you want to showcase them maybe in a collection, maybe you just have one that you want to showcase. I have a really fun idea for you that you can do with vintage rolling pins that's not going to compromise the integrity of your rolling pin. You don't have to use paint, but you can even change it up for different seasons and do it however you want. I really love this idea, and I hope that you guys like this too because it is super fun. Now, this is some fabric I picked up at Dollar Tree. I thought it was very perfect for a kitchen DIY. Kind of has like the farmer's market, the butcher. I just really thought it was perfect for this project. So I'm just putting a little slit in one edge of the fabric, and I'm going to tear this down. It tears pretty easily here, and the point of this is to have a really frayed edge. So I'm going to even kind of pull some extra little strings out and make sure that's a really like ratty-tatty frayed edge there. And that really gives that nice farmhouse aged look. And then I just kind of lay it up against my rolling pin, and you just decide how much of your rolling pin you want to have showing and how much fabric you want on there. I just kind of eyeballed that, and I just put a little slit in, and I'm going to tear this piece off and do the same thing with it, pulling away all of the extra threads and everything to give it a really frayed edge look. I love to have my mini heat press heated up when I'm working with fabric or ribbon because it is so nice to be able to use this as an iron and get all of the wrinkles out. It really is a great tool to have. Now we need to make one more cut to our fabric here, so I'm just rolling the fabric around the rolling pin here, and I'm going to cut, leaving about an inch to overlap, and then the same process. I just tear this fabric and then I fray all of the edges. I'm going to use my Elmer's Purple School glue stick for this. It is non-toxic, so it is not going to harm your rolling pin in any way, either in residue or by adding harmful chemicals or anything into there. So I just placed that on my fabric. Now you could completely skip this step and just fold the fabric over on itself and not glue anything directly to the rolling pin. And I'm just going to take my heat press and iron this edge flat so it will lay flat on the rolling pin. And then I put my glue directly on the fabric here on this edge of the fabric, so that way when I fold it over, then I've got a nice edge that's sealed onto my rolling pin. Putting this edge down and you're pulling it kind of taut, you just want to pay attention to the line of the fabric and make sure that it stays as straight as possible so it doesn't look all skiwampus or anything. And I do take my heat press and I go over this edge. This helps if there's any wrinkles or any creases or anything that happen. It smooths those out really well. Now you could leave your rolling pin like this, but this is the fun part for me, is embellishing it. I love how mine turns out. Yours may look completely different than this, so hopefully this just helps give you some fun ideas. I just take some of the thicker Walmart twine and I wrap that around 3 or 4 times and then tie it off in a knot. and I took a little sprig of the Walmart boxwood, as well as this little piece of lavender that came from this year's Dollar Tree spring bundle, and I just placed those under the knot there. And then to get them to stay, I take my hot glue, and you're just going to place the littlest amount of hot glue, just enough to keep those in place. This is going onto the fabric. It's not going to harm the rolling pin in any way. I had made this little beaded chain, and I thought, oh, maybe do I want to put it on here? This is me trying to hold it up to decide if I decide to put it on or not. It really went back and forth on this. I do end up adding it, and I really do like how it looks, but it took me a minute to kind of imagine what it looked like. But I just essentially tie this around the knot so it's on there. I take some smaller twine, and I just wrap that around my finger, maybe 10 times or so, to make a little finger bow. I'll just take another piece of twine and wrap that around the middle to make a little bow here, and just tie that off, and just those loops are going to make a cute bow to put on here. I know bows aren't everybody's thing. I think it looks really cute on here. It needed something extra, and in my mind this was the perfect thing. So if you had a different idea, it would be fun to know what else you guys would try. So just a little bit of hot glue. I let that dry for a little bit before I place it down so the glue doesn't squirt out everywhere. And then I just kind of move my tassels, or the tails of the bow there. I trim them up a little bit so they're not so crazy. And then here it is. Now, the fun thing about this is if you were to hang this, because it's got a hole in the handle, and kind of switch the direction of your bow, then those beads hang really cute if you were to display that like off a hanging rod or something. I'll show you what that looks like, but I think this looks really cute. I think the florals on the one side and the beads on the other really do kind of balance each other out. Here's a look at what it looks like hanging. What a fun way to display this if you have a hook or a shelf somewhere that you could hang things from. And imagine if you were to do this for some different seasons. It would be really easy to change this out because we're not compromising that rolling pin in any way. But imagine like a Christmas rolling pin or fall or something. I just think what a fun way to bring an actual kitchen item in and use it as decor, especially if you have some vintage ones or a collection. Kind of a fun, unique way to display these. What do you guys think of this one? I originally was taking this footage to show the rolling pins and how easily it is to find rolling pins like at thrift stores, and I saw that little teeny cake. I thought it was a cake cloche at first, but I've since learned it's like a cheese cloche. But I thought it was so cute, and such minimal work needed to be done with this. And I've seen a lot of pieces like this, whether you find just the glass top or the wood base. I thought I would grab this and show you because I have seen a few of them around, especially since cloches are so popular right now. You're starting to see them, at least like in the flea markets and things, you're starting to see those people pick those up and sell those a lot. And so I just thought I would show you how I decided to style this. Now this one was kind of tricky since it is like a cheese cloche and a little bit smaller. The dome is a little bit shorter. So I originally thought I was going to use that little wicker ball up on the left-hand side there, but I ended up not being able to use it because it's a little too tall. But I just took this little nest that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I just put a couple of little eggs from Easter in there with a little bit of wire to hold them in. You can see I'm fitting that on, and I'm like, dang it, it's not tall enough. I got to find one more thing to go in there. And this is me just trying it and going, okay, it really is too tall. There's no way I can do that. So, I mean, I maybe could have like tried cutting it. I don't know how I would have cut it down or anything, but I had just had a little cutout bird that I did on one of my videos that you guys loved, those little birds that I did. And I use them a lot in my decor. And I found this little piece of boxwood. This was just a leftover piece from Walmart on their cute little boxwood that they have that's such a great deal. And I kind of just bent the wire so it would kind of come around that nest. You can kind of see it's just going to rest on there. I felt like it just needed something other than the bird and the nest, and then that dome fits over. So if you see these, pick them up because I really feel like it is such an easy way to bring a cute little vignette into your decor. And I mean, they are so popular right now. Even if you found them, like start to see them, I know Target, Walmart, Hobby Lobby, you're starting to see like little cloches like this. But keep your eyes peeled, like at the flea markets and thrift stores. Like I said, I found this at Vintage Market Days, and it's such a fun way to bring a cute little vignette into your decor. I hope that you guys enjoyed these thrift flips today. I really do feel like these pieces are some of the more easy items to find when you're at a thrift store, kind of more universal items, and maybe ones that you wouldn't even think of picking up just because you're not going to use it for its original purpose, but maybe this kind of helps you see a different way that you could display this, or maybe you even have items like this at home and you're kind of trying to think of a different way to display them. I think each of these turned out beautifully, and they will each make their own statement in my decor. I would love to know if you guys had a favorite, which one it was. I always love to know that. And thank you guys so much with your patience on this video. Thank you to Linda and to Sandra for their patience as well. I really had a hard time getting over that cold and feeling like I even wanted to get back into doing work again. So thank you again for your patience. But the link to that playlist is down in my description box, also pinned in my comments. So check out those videos, that playlist, and say hi to Linda and to Sandra for me. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you next time. Happy crafting!
If you like the video that you just saw and you want to keep crafting together, here's another video that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.